have three components. So if I want to just pass the state to my to the parallel components, I have to lift that state up to this parent component. So because I want to like pass the count of to the navbar and to the list part, I need to pass this to do list. So I have passed I have taken this state to my parent component. And how the child component look like is that in list I'm just rendering my list. So if it is if the length is 0, then it will show me an empty list, and if it is more than that, then it will list out me the item in that part. Next, like the navbar, inside that I'm just showing this count of that, and inside to do I have my form where I'm just taking care of this handle change, that is for the input part and the value of that. So for that I have created this text value. I have also that taken this value to the parent one. So I'm also taking this input value to from the parent. It is not you want, you can just take this to the child component too, it will work, because we are just using that only for that component. So inside this to do, what I'm doing is I'm just taking this value and just changing, and after that whenever I'm submitting that, I'm just pushing that state to my to that data to my previous the state one, and I'm just destructuring so that I have always every time I have a new value for that. So this is till now how we are doing with the prop building part, we are doing with this e-commerce part we have seen. So inside that what we are doing is just the navbar, we are showing the cart component, that cart data, how much component, how much data is in our cart, and from the other component, that is similar how we used to do, we are just storing the data in list, and our mean is to do, and our count is here inside that. So till now, anyone have any doubt in this code till now?
No.
Is everything clear till now?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So now the question comes that if I have this state part, okay, but it looks like that when the component increase, so when we have whole component after 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 component, the managing states every time you have to lift up your state to your main component, to the parent component, because in parent in the parallel component, if you want to access, you have to do that. But we have there the concept comes called as state management, where you have to manage the state in a way so that you can access that state data and different components without using that parent child concept. For that we have different ways of doing that, and one thing is that we have a Redux, MobX. For that we use to it as a state management tool for that. And another thing that React provide to us is that a context API. So we will look out into the context API. Context API is just similar to the Redux part, and moreover you can say Redux works like a context API, but the main difference in both in that is context API, if it is just a general case, you can say it as a normal case is there, you can use context API. So we will look out into the how we can manage this type of state in this using context API. Okay. So now you have seen that some code is changed for now. So what I'm doing is when it comes to the context API, so you should have some things in your mind. What are the things we need to use to create this context? So first is that you have to use create context. It will just create you a context data, like a state you used to create. For that you have to create a context. It is provided by React by default, and the argument that you provide to it is a default value for that. Okay, whenever in forward we see that provider something, and if that is not provided to you, that default value will be provided to you by the context. So you have to like create and you have to store in variable and you have to export that, because and when you will be consuming that context, you have to be like you use that context. So for now, like we will see that undefined, like I've just given undefined for the default state. Later on we will see that how the how the default state works differently in case of you will not provide any context provider. So what create context provide to me is that it provide an object that have provider and a consumer. So what provider do is it will just take the top child, like we have like components, the childrens of that component. So it takes children for that, like you have to wrap up where you want to just access the value of that. So it is like where you will wrap your provider, all the component inside that wrapper will have the access of that value. So it is like the more the more higher level you will provide a wrapper to that, it will be the values will be accessible to be there. So you can see like I'm not passing anything anywhere, okay? So but still I will be able to access that value. So what is this value in this case? So this provider takes a prop as a value, and inside that you will be going to provide that value. So that is the value you will be able to access. That's the value you will be able to access in that case. So this is the value, like if it will be a single value, if you want to like a single value, if it can be a to-do list only, so only that will be provided, that will be visible to you in that case. And if you want like multiple, like we can create a multiple provider for that, but now we will see this with the single provider. Okay, so I'm just passing an object value. Okay, so what it is, I have a to-do list and a set to-do list. Till now anyone anyone have any doubt in this case, like how I created, like this is how I created my context and this is how I'm using this context. So till now I'm not done, I'm just in the like the basic part we are here, more like how to use that context. Till now we have not consumed anything, so this is just the creation phase of that context. Anyone have any doubt till now?
Till now it's clear.
Okay, so what after to do that, we have to consume this thing so that if anything changes in this state, okay, you have to be take care, like I'm using this state, so everything will be presented inside that because I'm passing that value inside that. So just let's move on to this to do part. So how you consume this context is we have two ways of that. One is that it provides, like our previously said, create context provide as a consumer and a provider. So the other way is to use in this way, like in this way to do context dot consumer. In this way we can consume it, and the other way is using the hook use context. So what use context do is it will just provide you the to do context, and inside that it will be going to give you the value. So let's like see what value it is giving to me. Okay, like if I use that context, so if I see in the console, so what it provides me a object with to do list and set to do list. So what if I like if I change anything here? Okay, let's see. Now what I'm getting is I'm just getting to do list. So just see, the thing is that whatever value I'm providing here, that's the thing I'm consuming there. So in to do list, so when like if I know that the destructuring, so I just restructure the data according to my need. So I just need set to do list in that case because I don't want to access the list of that. So I just access set to do list, and everything is similar to the previous one. Like I have a to do text state and I have a header change function. On that I'm just creating my like final object and storing that in my set to do list. And set to do list is this function. So what it will do is it will just make this uh, state as an object for that. So if I just create any to do list in that case, so it will just, yeah. So it will work same. And how like now I'm consuming in navbar is, so I just use this in the use context. So like previously we did in the this to do context. So I'm just getting access of use context. From there, what I want is I just want the to do list part. Okay. So from to do list, what I need is I just need the length part. So that's what I am showing there in the to do list one. And coming to this list part. So what I did is here we have used a different way. We are not using use context to, we are using the consumer part that is provided by that create context. Okay. So what consumer, inside consumer, what you have to do is you have to make a function, and that function will have the data access. Okay, that value access. So it is same like we are doing here, like using the use context, but the different thing here is that you have to use this context consumer. So in that case, uh, it is similar like the to do list object that we are getting in the use context. It will be the similar, you will be getting that argument as a that value, and after that you can consume it in the similar way like we used to do in the map plan using the map. So in the similar way, like this is how we are like rendering the things, how we are getting the state. So this is way like we can divide the state part. So like we are not passing any prop here, we are not passing any prop here. So app is like free up from this prop drilling part. So anyone have any doubt on this? Oh, is everything clear now? Till now?
like uh, like in the case of like grandchildren component also, like we will able to access to do list and set to do list like grandchildren component. We're doing
Yeah,
the
you
same
can.
thing.
Yeah, you can access. Like if I make so if like just if you want to like you can access it here too. Like if you want, you can just use like we can restructure it using use context. And here what we need to do is we need to just provide that to do context part. And here what we can do is we can just access to do list. Okay. So this is what we are doing, and like it's to do list dot. Okay, so it is just a simple like list of list, and I'm also showing here the count of that. And what we want to do is that let's show inside this. Like after this, what we can do is so it will show like it will show every time like how much count is there. Okay, it will change the state. So it is like you are not giving any access to this to-do list data Okay, you are not giving any item length or anything in that. It is giving just a list of list data, and I'm just creating the I created this and I'm accessing this. Okay, so which changes is that here is changing the length part. Okay, so every time whenever it is changing, so it will also change this value, because everywhere we are entering this part. So you can access to any depth of like your child, any component depth till you, but the thing is that you have to access that the context that you are creating. If things are clear now.
Yeah.
Any doubt? And
So I need to have only one context line. Like here, there is to do context. So can I not create more context like for different data, different contexts?
yeah, you can you can create a different context for that. Okay, so like if I want export this, let's create to do dispatch for that different.
Create context.
So in that, what I can do now is that I'm just passing this to do context will be we will be having only this to do list, and say that what I can do is that I can make use of to do dispatch dot provider, and what I can do is I can just pass value as set to do list. So what we have is we have different context for both of the thing, like we for like to do like list we have to do context, and for dispatch we have this. So now we have to change the things here. So here we are just accessing is to do dispatch, and inside the list, this one. So to do list, here what we have to do is to do we have, yeah, we have to do context for this, and inside the never. So here I'm also using this use context to do context here. Should work. It's not property of length. Oh, sorry. So if I just create the things now, it will render according to that part. So you can create as much as this context you can, but you have to you have to see how the things you are just accessing that, how you are accessing that context.
Okay, and why is there undefined in that?
It is
Like,
just like a default value for that. Like if I don't provide any, just let's see to do
okay,
list.
okay, okay, yes, 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 okay.
So if I don't provide this part, okay, if I don't provide this part,
Okay, understood. Means that like we use state for default state, that is for default context, right?
Yeah, that will be like the default value for that.
Okay.
Like we have only one thing, so that will be come as in our default state for that. But when you pass that, when you have that provider, so that will be that value prop will have the that default value of that.
Okay.
Any doubt till now? Anyone have any other doubt? So what we can do is let's see like what other thing. Just a second. Fine. So previously, like we have seen that everything was in our this app component, and that was looking just like a we are just managing everything inside our app. So now what I have done is that I have created another file, like you will like to manage the things separately inside that. So what here I'm doing is I'm just creating a component here, or like you can take it as a header component, and inside that I'm just using that children prop. So hope everyone will like aware of that children prop. So what the children prop is doing, like everything is same like what previously we have seen. We have import user state. For that we have to do create context, and similarly like we have a to-do list, to-do like set to-do list, and everything is the same like the provider one and this one. But here is that like we have a children prop. So children, what like the component, like the other component that is inside this to do provider will be available to us as a prop children inside this react, like in this part component. So we have like a something called a props dot children, so that we can access the props of that child, all the props of that component. So this is the like how like now I just made it as a clean, so it is like a to do provider, and inside that we have all the children. So this is like the, I can say like this, the final lookout of that.
This is like kind of a cleaner approach to separate out your context logic outside the
Yes, sir.
components basically. So wherever you need to use, you can just directly wrap your component within to do
Yes,
provider.
sir. And like if you want to like mimic all these things, you can just use reducer in the like in the forward videos. You can see that using the use reducers, we can manage all the state like we used to do in the Redux. So Sagar sir, anything like you want to suggest or you want to tell?
I
Like,
think it was pretty much precise. So I believe like everyone would have understood like how we can make use of the same within our shopping this e-commerce website. It's the way like we started over here, like we had to do list and all those things on top level in app, and we were passing them as prop is what I suggested as solution before. But with context API, it makes more sense to move those things out within the context. So I hope you would understand like how to make use of context now in your project as well. And if you get time, I would suggest you to make use of it and shift the logic like the one which we implemented moving straight up to make use of context now if you have time, or you can do it later after payment integration as well.
anyone else any doubt?
No.
So Deepak sir, can I like stop this?
Yeah, he is not there.
It's okay. So सर stop कर दो.
Sure.
Okay.
Cool, I think this looks fine. If anyone has something, you can ask out. Cool, then. Thank you, Lakshay, for the session. You all can continue with your project regarding payment integration, and we can maybe sync up tomorrow. The payment integration should be completed by tomorrow, end of day.
Okay.
Yep. And if anyone has any doubt, you can always reach out to Lakshay. He can help you out by with helping out like how you can go through the documentation, not with the code exactly. He won't write the code for you. He can explain like how you can understand the documentation well. ठीक है लक्ष्य.
Yes, sir.
Just help them out like how they should read a documentation of any API, how they should try to implement it,
Yes,
not
sir.
exactly tell like how they have to implement the things.
Surely.
हेलो गाइस यार मैं अभी आया जस्ट कुछ काम आ गया था सॉरी अच्छा तो पेमेंट में क्या प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है वैसे
Nothing. I think they were not able to like understand how to read the documentation and implement it.
सर रिकॉर्डिंग ऑफ कीजिए. मतलब रिकॉर्डिंग को ना रोक दीजिए.
या रिकॉर्डिंग विल बी अवेलेबल इन अराउंड 10 minutes so I will share you after that.
You can stop कर the recording.
Yeah, sure. Okay.